Earlier this year, when we were coming out of the pandemic, we were going through a lot as people. And one thing about going through a lot as a country, as the world, is that there's always changes. Everything that changes comes with an impact, right? And I decided at the beginning of the year, I was like, you know what? I wanna rebrand myself in terms of the content. We have a YouTube channel called Defining, where we do wholesome content, we do storytelling, and we were doing long format. Coming out of the pandemic, everything was just changing. I wanted to rebrand. I went online, searched for content on how to rebrand your content. And this got me thinking, right? I was like, I needed something that can spike out, something that can be different. I was like, cool. Since we're here, coming out of the pandemic, we are positive people, we'll do this positively. So we looked at all the social media platforms. I did a little bit of research on what was going on with the social media. I was like, let me try and apply this in my mind, right? And I was like, I need to think out of the box. I needed something different. I needed to find a way to be present on the social media because everything is changing. I needed to find myself in a community of social media. I needed to find a space where I can belong on the social media space. And then, the best place to think, believe it or not, is the shower. There's an actual term, it's called the shower thought. It's a proven thing, guys. Like, it's a proven thing, it's a scientific thing, it's called a shower thought. What happens is that, listen carefully. What happens when you're in the shower is that your body can't tell the difference between air and your skin. That's why you can't think about anything else besides the water that's flowing. You're enjoying the heat. Then therefore your brain goes into thinking mode. That's when you have your aha moment. That's when you decide to be creative. That's when all the ideas come through. With all the ideas I was getting, I was thinking about what's the next big thing on social media. And the next big thing on social media is short format content. Short format content was the future. We had the introduction of TikTok. We had the introduction of Instagram Reels. Instagram changed from being a picture format software to being a real video format. And that was clear to say Reels were the next big things. TikTok videos were the next big thing. YouTube changed from its normal long format. They introduced YouTube Shorts, of which is the shorter side of YouTube. That's how they rebranded themselves. I was like, since everyone is rebranding, I know this is where the future is going on social media. However, there was a big concern while I was still studying all those changes on what was going on, right? And the thing is, we discovered that as a company that does research on people, and they've discovered that a concentration span of a human being is 8.5 seconds. When I look at my analytics on the platforms, social media platforms, I found that an average view is actually 8.5 seconds, meaning that people, if I can take a video now, they'll only watch it for 8.5 seconds. After that, they scroll up. I was like, that's very interesting. However, the problem is that society is not aware that if your concentration is 8.5 seconds, it means that you can't focus on it. You can't, the habits that are developing from that are actually bad. I was like, there's actually nothing good losing your concentration. However, we have to see the positive things. If we're developing on the social media side, we need to find ways to revolve around that. And it got me curious, right? There's this wise guy, his name is Richard, right? He said, curiosity is as much of a parent of attention as attention is as of memory. Meaning that you can put in one basket curiosity, attention, and memory. You take one out of the box, you're going to lose a lot. So that's what was happening on the social media space at that time. That's where I found myself with the short form content side of things. I was like, there's so many things that are happening. However, we are losing the memory part of it. We are losing the attention of people. Because everyone is curious. You can be on your phone all the time. However, there is always an impact. Now, this got me to the next big question that I had in mind. I was like, who do we hold accountable for the social media, for the impact of social media? That is a very big question that I was asking myself at that time to say, we do all this content, but however, who's really responsible? Who do we blame for the impact of social media? This can be either good, this can be either bad, right? That's the impact of social media. And for us to realize this, we have to focus on the three parts. The three parts, the first thing is the security part. The second thing is the value part. The third is the community part of it. When you look at social media, you have to look at, do I feel secure? Do I feel unsafe on the social media space? You have to check those things. The second thing is, do I feel valued when I'm looking at social media content? Or do I feel useless when I'm going through the 8.5 seconds moving, scrolling up and down? The third thing is that, do I feel included or in part of the community? Or do I feel as an outcast in the social media? It can happen while you're scrolling through. Doesn't matter what social media platform you're using. But however, you need to look at those three factors. Now, I want us to play a game, right? And this game is called the blame game. We need to blame certain people in order to understand who is responsible for the impact of social media, right? I'm going to introduce a couple of players. Before I introduce a couple of players, I want to put a scenario, a hypothesis into it, so that we can have one hypothesis that will guide us who do we really blame for social media. However, in that regards, I want to reframe and reshape the way you see social media right now. I want you to see the positive side of things. When we look at these factors, remember the three factors that we've listed in terms of the security, being valued, and part of the community, right? So I'm going to introduce four players in this game. Player number one, the hypothesis of a dance challenge, right? Let's say now, if we want to put this as a hypothesis, I put a phone and I start recording a video. I do a little bit of a dance challenge there. I record it, and then this video goes viral because that's what happens these days. It's easy to go viral. It doesn't matter who you are, you can go viral. I get 1 million views on this video. And on this video, I have comments. And most of those comments are negative comments. However, I'm still getting a little bit of positivity. But however, in this hypothesis, I'm still getting mental health issues. I'm getting anxiety because I've never received 1 million views. I've never received so much comments in my life. And the positive side of it, I'm still getting friends contacting me to say, hey, we want to work with you. You've seen a little bit of the dancing skills. Even though it was just 8 seconds, then you have to go to dancing schools, but it was still there, right? That is our hypothesis. So we're going to use that in order to play the game, the blame game, right? So now, let's introduce our players. Player number one is the government. What does the government do in terms of social media? Number two, what do organizations do in terms of social media space? The third one, the developers, the IT guys, what do they do in terms of social media? The fourth one is the individuals, you guys. What do we do? What is our responsibility on the social media space? So, let's start with the first one, the big guys, the government. So the government, the main responsibility on social media is that they have policies that they draw up for social media. There's nothing much that we can sort of point them out and say, what does the government do, right? The biggest thing that they do is draw policies. If my dancing challenge went viral, there's nothing that they can actually have an impact on. That's why we're using the hypothesis of going viral on social media. Can they help with my mental health? I don't think so. They can help with the policies as the government, right? And that's the main thing. The second thing that they can do is literally introduce policies that can help support. One of the biggest things in South Africa right now that's being introduced is the Poppy Act. It was introduced in 2013 and then implemented recently. It's giving corporates a headache when it comes to implementing the Poppy Act. That's what the government can do. However, me as an individual, I did my video, the dancing challenge. They can't help with the Poppy Act. They can do as much, but they can't really go in. So we can't really put the government to that certain level, right? That brings me to the next challenger on our game, of which is organizations. One thing about organizations is that you go to a workplace, you get in, you do your 9 to 5, but then the problem is the bottom in between. You start scrolling on social media, but they also have policies in the workplace, right? They've got policies that they've implemented, and of which the biggest thing they also do is monitor what you do as an employee during the workplace. You can't really go that far. If I do a video that goes viral, you can't really fire me unless I'm revealing the company's information, unless I'm exposing something that's private to the company. So also, the challenge, I can't really blame the organization for the impact of social media, right? And there's one example that happened. There's a school teacher who recently went viral on social media, and she was dancing. She was here. She was doing the thing. When I saw that video, I was like, I love this. I love on how social media has brought us closer together. And this is something that was impactfully positive. Because the biggest debate that arose from there is that, does a teacher who dances help you with the productivity of the school? Does it help? Most of the students were like, yes, it helps. We're able to communicate with the teacher. I was like, okay, check. That means the school can't really do much. However, they have an opportunity to support you or fire you. The school took out a statement to say, we support. So they don't fire. Those are the options that an organization can do. So either we support or we fire you for exposing the information. In this regard, then we fire, they support it, right? So now, if you go in on our third player, is a developer, that guy who sits in the corner, coding, developing the software. That is the guys who develop the software. Can we put an impact on, can we put a blame on those guys? Yes, we can, up to a certain extent. But their main role when I'm hired as an IT developer is that I must develop a software where you can engage users and come in. As a business, you have to get clients. And then clients come in and use your software. So their main job is to get clients. You can't blame them on how it goes. As much as you can say they're creating algorithms that are very difficult to beat as human beings or exposing your data, you can blame them to a certain extent. But those guys, you can't really blame them because they're doing their job. If you hire me to be a developer, to develop algorithms for you, I'll develop them to my best ability, of which that's what they did. And on a recent case that happened is that when we started with the short-form content, I saw TikTok was the leader, was the first mover into short-form content. They had these algorithms at the beginning on the For You page. They call it the For You page. You find yourself going from one video, going in, video number 1, number 2, 6 hours later, you're still on TikTok. But of which, you're like, wait, that was like 4 seconds video. How was I able to scroll through? That is the developer. The job is to create content that allows you, right? So you can't blame the developer for developing such a cool thing. That's his job, right? So that's player number 3. The third player is individuals. These are the people who create content. These are the people who like content. These are the people who share, comment, and these are the people who are able to report your content. If I'm dancing, you can report the content to say, is it harmful? Is it dangerous? Is it explicit? Does it impact you in any way? So as individuals, that's a responsibility. Can you put the blame on this guy? On these guys, individuals. Individuals like you and me. Can we? Up to a certain extent as well. But this one is more favorable than the other players because this is direct. Because when you create content to certain people, right? And then now, the biggest impact that we can see as individuals is that when we come together to change something on social media, it can actually have an impact. One of the biggest proof of that is the hashtag recently that trended worldwide, of which was Black Lives Matter. That was one social media impact that started off with the one post, a black word that was posted to say, we need to change this. It happened through the whole world, and we were able to see change with social media. So that alone brought a lot of closure in terms of using social media. That if we were intentional about social media, we'll be able to move forward. We'll be able to change the way we see it. We'll be able to reframe the way social media is. If we're able to reshape what you think social media is to where it is now, is that we using social media for our benefit. Social media is not, we are not designed for social media. Social media is designed for us. It's not the other way around. We need to recognize that the power is within us. If we decide to tune into short format, we need to be aware where we're going with our life. It's our personal decision to say, I'm going to go into short format content creation. However, what type of content goes in there? That's the important part. Is that when we start creating social media content on a short space of time, it's us. The developers didn't decide to say, go create short format content. The government can't decide what you post on social media. They can try to regulate some of the things. However, I want to enforce this to you guys in a better way to say, reshape and reframe the way you see social media. Social media has a lot of impact that it can make. It's either you're in the government space, you're in an organization. What I've just shown you guys is that how much power you have if you're in the government, whether you're an employee, whether you're an individual. We're all connected into one circle, of which is the social media space. We're moving into the digital era. We need to be aware. We don't need to decline that we're moving into the digital era. The sooner we get into the digital era, the better we're able to control it. If we're the first movers into the digital era, we're able to reframe the way it is. We can put a structure to where it is going. Your kids are still going to come. Generations are still going to change. And we need to be ready for that because the kids that are coming up right now, a kid as small as 2 years, they know what is a TikTok challenge. They know what is a TikTok dance challenge. They know on how it goes. That's the power of social media. So we need to be ready. We need to make sure that we are ready for social media. Thank you so much, guys, for coming to my TED Talk.